Hallo und willkommen. Ich bin Meister Lenzer and you're watching Get Germanized, Hamburg versus Frankfurt am Main. Which city is better, which city is the best to live in, to work in, and so on. And all of that while driving through the German countryside. Since I have not lived in Hamburg or Frankfurt am Main myself, I collected some information from the internet for you, and well, now I'm going to present it to you and also give you my personal opinion from visits there at the end of the video.
All on board, what should I do?
Ich weiß.
Get Germanized.
Hamburg. Hamburg apparently is very good for expats. The latest Mercer ranking of best cities for expats puts Hamburg within the top 20 best cities for quality of life. And there might be a good reason for it. Hamburg has an especially strong connection to British expat communities, which makes sense, since it was occupied by UK forces at the end of the Second World War. There are a number of societies devoted to UK culture in the city, including the Scottish Country Dancers of Hamburg and the Hamburger Cricket Society. And the city also has a more than 400-year-old Anglican church community and the St. Thomas Becket Church. There's also a famous saying that sums up this British connection. Wenn es in London anfängt zu regnen, spannen die Hamburger den Schirm auf, which means when it starts to rain in London, the people of Hamburg open their umbrellas. When it comes to music, Hamburg is the birthplace of Johannes Brahms, as well as that of famous waltz composer Oscar Petras. But most famously, perhaps in modern times, the Beatles members John Lennon, Paul McCartney and George Harrison got their own big career boost in the city while playing various Hamburg clubs between 1960 and 1962. They did their first recording there, caught the attention of their future manager Brian Epstein, and even met the woman credited with creating their famed mop-top haircuts, artist Astrid Kirchherr. So, of course, the city created Beatlesplatz, devoted to the music legend with steel sculptures of the Fab Four. Hamburg is quite expensive. Hamburg is currently one of the more affluent cities in Germany. Last year it was ranked one of the most expensive cities to live in Germany, and it has a higher concentration of Germany's richest individuals than any other city. And it's easy to find the luxury here. Germany has just 10 restaurants with 3 Michelin stars, and one of them is in Hamburg, called The Table, which Berlin, Munich and Frankfurt all cannot say. But there's also places for people who don't have as much money. One of the city's most iconic spots is far from glitz and glam. The red light and party district called the Reeperbahn is the hub of nightlife and red light offerings, known in German as the most sinful mile. Nightclubs, strip clubs, brothels and more. Its notoriety is the stuff that songs are made of. And its side street, the Herbertstraße, is legendary for how it forbids juveniles as well as grown women from entering. Perhaps one of the most important ways Hamburg is a great and interesting place to live is that the city has been dubbed one of the happiest regions in Germany. It was rated the 4th happiest state in the country in the Deutsche Post's annual happiness atlas for 2015, though this was a bit of a slip from its first place spot in 2012. The latest happiness atlas shows that on average Hamburgers rate their life satisfaction 7 out of 10. And that's quite a bit, isn't it? While Berlin screams hipster and cool, Hamburg doesn't need to, it just is. Hamburg is much like Berlin with its neighborhood vibes, but without the pretension. Schanzenviertel and Karolinenviertel are the places to be for cafe hopping, bars, boutique stores and everything that goes along with that. Or you can get some peace and quiet while sailing on the Alster. Hamburg somehow manages to be hipster, upmarket and unpretentious all at the same time. Hamburg is a proud modern city of charisma, elegance and style. The English press often calls it the most English city outside of England, with the water playing an important role in the day-to-day life. Some say Hamburg is only a decent city with a few decent areas, but surely not as vibrant as Prague or Milan. But it also doesn't pretend to be. Things people love about this city is how laid back the people were, the area around St. Pauli, the harbor and shipping industry that definitely adds some character. The city also is known for its amazing seafood that is not very expensive at all. Of course, in some places it is more expensive than in others. Even though Hamburgers seem to be happy people in general, some say they are quite unfriendly. While that is a debatable fact, the citizens of the Hansestadt Hamburg, the city's official name, are very proud of their home's maritime history. Located on a river that connects the city to the nearby North Sea, Hamburg has been in a significant position for centuries. In 1189, the city was declared an imperial free city, meaning Hamburg enjoyed tax-free access up the Elbe River to the North Sea. The city officially joined the Hanseatic League in 1321 and over time became an important trading hub due to its port and harbor. Today it is one of the busiest ports in Europe and many cruises include Hamburg on their itineraries. As mentioned before, due to Hamburg's proximity to the sea, it's one of the best places to get fresh fish in Germany. Almost every restaurant has fish and seafood options, and you can get a fish sandwich, a Fischbrötchen, at any market in the city. On Sunday mornings, Hamburg's famous fish market is the place to see the fish stalls in action and get fish straight off the boat. A visit to Hamburg provides a different but still very Germanic view of the country. They have their own accent, local beers and distinct cuisine. Almost anywhere you go, you will be near water and you can't escape the sea air. The way the city has been built up around the port and the influence the sea has on the city makes Hamburg noticeably different from any other German city. Art lovers can enjoy 7 centuries of art, from medieval to contemporary. These can be found in the 3 different buildings of Hamburg's Kunsthalle, the art hall. Aside from its permanent collections, the museum receives international recognition for its special exhibitions, which attract thousands of visitors a year. For more contemporary art and photography, visit the Deichtorhallen. But there are several other types of museums in Hamburg as well. The Maritime Museum explains Hamburg's history as a trading and shipping center. Spicy Spice Market is a fun way to learn about the spice trade. One of Hamburg's most popular attractions, the Miniatur Wunderland, has the largest model railroad in the world, as well as full model cities and a working model airport. Similar to most of other German cities, Hamburg's residents enjoy spending time outside. Due to its far northern latitude, Hamburg enjoys long days during the summer, encouraging everyone to go outside. Many people use bicycles as their main mode of transportation, even in cold or rainy weather. The city has a lot of parks and outdoor spaces, but one of the most popular parks is the Planten- and Blumenpark in the center of the city. The old botanical garden is located here, as well as the largest Japanese garden in Europe, a tropical house, an open ice rink in the winter, and plenty of children's activities such as playgrounds and miniature golf. If animals are what you're looking for, visit the Hagenbeck Zoo, the zoo, where you can see more than 200 different animal species, as well as a 4-level aquarium. Sports are also very popular in Hamburg, especially soccer, football, or Fußball as we say here in Germany. The city even has 2 teams, the Hamburger SV and the FC St. Pauli, Hamburg. With so much water around, relaxing along the banks of the river or near the Alster lakes is a wonderful way to spend an afternoon. Since this is still Germany, find a beer garden and try some of the local brews while enjoying some fresh air. With many universities and an active nightlife, Hamburg maintains a very youthful vibe. St. Pauli and the Reeperbahn area is an area full of clubs where young people spend their Friday and Saturday nights. More laid-back bars can be found in the Schanzenviertel. When the weather is nice, lounging in the park or at an outdoor cafe can make anyone feel young at heart. The city just feels more alive, like something fun might be just around the corner. Summer brings plenty of free events to the city for the budget-conscious crowd. Not only does Hamburg sit along the Elbe River, it also has the Alster Lakes located right in the city, just north of the main train station. Go swimming, kayaking, sailing, or take a boat tour of the lakes during the summer, or try ice skating during the winter. Hamburg also has a long tradition of rowing. The first rowing club in Germany was founded there. Various clubs train on the outer Alster Lake, certain sections of the Elbe River, and in some of the city's main canals. At the Hamburg port, join a boat tour of the harbor to get a taste of Hamburg's maritime culture up close. Some tours even journey into the canals of the Speicherstadt, the largest single warehouse complex in the world. If you would rather watch the boats than ride in them, take a seat at the Landungsbrücken and see the port at work. Hamburg has a variety of architectural styles throughout the city. There are many significant churches, including St. Nicholas, which was the tallest building in the world for a short time in the 19th century, and St. Michael's, where you can climb the bell tower for a beautiful view of the city. Hamburg's Rathaus, the city hall, is a beautifully decorated building that was completed in the late 1800s. The city also boasts more bridges than any other city in the world. Take a stroll through the cobbled streets of the Speicherstadt to see the brick buildings of the warehouses and many bridges that cross the canals. In fact, Hamburg has over 2,300 bridges throughout the city. Frankfurt. Frankfurt, officially Frankfurt am Main, is a metropolis and the largest city in the German state of Hessen and the 5th largest city in Germany. Frankfurt was a city-state, the Free City of Frankfurt, for nearly 5 centuries and was one of the most important cities of the Holy Roman Empire. It lost its sovereignty in 1866. In 2015, Frankfurt had a population of 732,688 within its administrative boundaries and 2.3 million in its urban area. The city is at the center of the larger Frankfurt Rhine-Main metropolitan region, which has a population of 5.5 million and is Germany's second largest metropolitan region after Rhine-Ruhr. Since the enlargement of the European Union in 2013, the geographic center of the EU is about 40 kilometers to the east of Frankfurt's central business district, the Bankenviertel. Frankfurt is culturally and ethnically diverse, with around half of the population and a majority of young people having a migration background. A quarter of the population are foreign nationals, including many expatriates. Frankfurt is an alpha world city and a global hub for commerce, culture, education, tourism and transportation. It is the site of many global and European corporate headquarters. Frankfurt's airport is among the world's busiest. Frankfurt is the major financial center of the European continent, with the HQs of the European Central Bank, German Federal Bank, Frankfurt Stock Exchange, Deutsche Bank, DZ Bank, KfW, Commerzbank, several cloud and fintech startups, and other institutes. Automotive, technology and research, services, consulting, media and creative industries complement the economic base. Messe Frankfurt is one of the world's largest trade fairs. Major fairs include the Frankfurt Motor Show, the world's largest motor show, the Music Fair, and the Frankfurt Book Fair, the world's largest book fair. Frankfurt is home to influential educational institutions including the Goethe University, the UAS, the FUMPA, and graduate school like the Frankfurt School of Finance and Management. Its renowned cultural venues include the concert hall, Alte Oper, Europe's largest English theater, and many museums. For example, the Museumufer Ensemble with Städel and Liebig House, Senckenberg Natural Museum, and the Goethe House. Frankfurt's skyline is shaped by some of Europe's tallest skyscrapers. The city is also characterized by various green areas and parks, including the central Wallanlagen, the city forest, and 2 major botanical gardens, the Palmengarten and the university's botanical garden. In electronic music, Frankfurt has been a pioneering city since the 1980s, with renowned DJs including Sven Väth, Mark Trauner, Scott Project, Kai Tressett, and the clubs Dorian Gray, U60311, Omen and Cocoon. In sports, the city is known as the home of the top-tier football club Eintracht Frankfurt, the basketball club Frankfurt Skyliners, the Frankfurt Marathon, and the venue of Ironman Germany. It is the seat of German sport unions for the Olympics, football and motorsports. Frankfurt is located on both sides of the Main River, southeast of the Taunus mountain range. The southern part of the city contains the Frankfurt city forest, Germany's largest city forest. Frankfurt has a temperate oceanic climate. Its average annual temperature is 10.6 degrees Celsius, which equals 51.1 degrees Fahrenheit, with monthly mean temperatures ranging from 1.6 degrees Celsius, which is 34.9 degrees Fahrenheit in January, to 20 degrees Celsius, which equals 68 degrees Fahrenheit in July. There's evidence of Celtic and Germanic settlements in the city dating from the 1st century BCE, as well as Roman remains from the 1st and 2nd centuries CE. But the first written mention of Frankfurt stems from Charlemagne's personal biographer, Einhard, in the late 8th century. The Pfalz, an imperial castle, served as an important royal residence of the East Frankish Carolingians from the 9th century through later medieval times. In the 12th century, the Hohenstaufen dynasty erected a new castle in Frankfurt and walled the town. The Hohenstaufen ruler Frederick I was elected king in 1152, and in 1356 the Golden Bull of Emperor Charles IV designated Frankfurt as the permanent site for the election of German kings. Until World War II, Frankfurt's old town, which had grown up around the imperial castle, was the largest medieval city still intact in Germany. The old town was mostly destroyed by Allied bombing campaigns in 1944, however, and was subsequently rebuilt with multi-story office buildings and other modern structures. Among the city's most famous old structures are the Römer, the Roman, formerly the site of the Holy Roman Emperor's coronation ceremonies, and now Frankfurt City Hall, and two other gabled houses on the Römerberg, the city square surrounding the Römer. Other historical landmarks include the 155-foot tall Eschenheimer Tower, the red sandstone cathedral, which was dedicated to Saint Bartholomew in 1239, and the Paulskirche, which was the meeting place of the first Frankfurt National Assembly. International trade fairs have been held in Frankfurt since 1240, and the city is now a leading commercial, financial and high technology center. There's an important stock exchange, first established in 1585, and the Rothschild family started building its international banking empire in Frankfurt. The city is also traditionally known for its production of high-quality sausages. We're in Germany after all. Frankfurt has long been a key stopping point for river, rail and road traffic from Switzerland and southern Germany northward along the Rhine River to the Ruhr region and across the Main River to north-central Germany. It is still the chief traffic hub for western Germany and has also been an important inland shipping port since the canalization of the Main in the 1880s. The Johann Wolfgang Goethe University of Frankfurt is among the largest institutions of higher education in Germany. The birthplace of Johann Wolfgang von Goethe was burned to the ground in World War II, but was later restored. There are residential areas like Bornheim full of little local shops, a lot of vegetarian and vegan food places, little markets and some street art too, which people are always pleased to discover. For some people, Frankfurt still feels a bit sterile though. Frankfurt is definitely a city of contrasts, much like other cities in Germany, but something people might not expect from one of Germany's biggest banking hubs. Frankfurt is still very much worth your time to visit though. Depending on your interests, there are about 20 museums you could visit, and depending on the date, there may very well be a great fest you could go to. There even was a skyscraper festival in 2013 that was a lot of fun for everyone involved. There are wonderful farmers markets happening on various days of the week. It is a very old city with an interesting history. Frankfurt was a center for Jewish culture in Germany for a few centuries due to the ghetto the city built in 1462 and then welcomed in all the Jews that were kicked out of other cities. The Jewish Holocaust Memorial Wall ought to be on anyone's list that visits here. The medieval Jewish cemetery can also be visited, as well as one part of the original ghetto wall, the Staufenmauer, built in 1180. For history lovers, the Kaiserdom is the imperial church where the Holy Roman Emperors were elected and crowned. Walk to the top of the steeple for a great view of the city. There are several medieval churches to visit: Alte Nikolai, Deutsche Orden, Liebfrauen, and in the neighborhood of Höchst, the Justinus Church. A crowd's favorite is the Karmeliter Kloster, with all of the walls painted in the early 1500s by Jörg Rathgeb. The Paulskirche is where Germany held its first freely elected parliament and offers lots of information about this in English. So as you can see, Frankfurt is not all work and no fun. There's much more to it. My personal experience with both cities. I cannot really give you a detailed opinion on Frankfurt since I've never visited. I've only been to Hamburg a couple of times. Hamburg was beautiful and had a very maritime feel about it. I even made a couple of videos that you can check out in the video description. When I think of Hamburg, I think of beautiful buildings and rich people. That is pretty much it. And of course water, seafood and the fish market. And of course the red light district, the Reeperbahn that I've described to you before. When people talk about Frankfurt, they often say it's only a business city and there's not much else to it, which kind of prevented me from visiting so far. If I had to pick one of the two cities, I'd probably visit Hamburg again. But maybe you can change my mind in the comments below. Let me know which city you prefer and why. And if you found this video helpful, well, if you found it interesting, then please like the video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And consider supporting me on patreon.com/getgermanized and become part of the Germelite, the people that make regular videos every Wednesday, Friday and Sunday possible and that keep this channel alive. Thank you. And apart from that, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to get Germanized. Goodbye and auf Wiedersehen.